What's up, guys? It's Bumpkins. Today is Wednesday, July 27th. Wednesday means New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day means New Comic Book Haul video. As always, I went down to Infinity Flux here in Chattanooga, Tennessee for another big old stack of books and a few extra cool goodies as well. Real quick before we get started, if you guys are on the Whatnot app and you're looking for a cool seller who sells cool things, be sure to check out Infinity Flux. They are at Infinity Flux Comics, all one word. They'll be linked in the description below. They have 3 shows a week where they sell old stuff and new stuff and Silver Age and Bronze Age and new release books, action figure shows on Wednesdays. It's really cool. This Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern, they are doing a Slab-a-Palooza show where it's all slabs of all different kinds, and there is a giveaway with every single purchase. So be sure to check them out if that is the kind of thing you're interested in. So let's go ahead and start looking at the books, starting with Marvel, starting with Amazing Spider-Man number 6 or Legacy number 900. So this is a big, thick boy. If you can see that there, this is like, I think it's like 96 pages. I think it's one of the 96 pagers, or maybe in the 80s somewhere. But yeah, so the first story arc that this series has been telling with Tombstone and the Rose and the Gang War and all that stuff, that wrapped up last issue. So this very much felt like a one and done story. I'm pretty sure it is. Like, I don't think this is going to continue. But this was an okay story. I love the art. I will say the art. The whole thing is done. The whole main story is done by Ed McGuinness. I love his artwork. I wish he would just stay on Spider-Man. I love his rendition of pretty much all characters. But this is a story of Spider-Man going up against the Ultra Living Brain, which is a sort of a descendant of the Living Brain from way back in Amazing Spider-Man number 8. Back in 1963, I think it was 63, or I think it may have been 64 by the time it got around to issue 8. I'm not sure, but regardless, so he goes up against the Ultra Living Brain and the Super Adaptoid, who now has all of the abilities of the Sinister Six. And you know, how does he fight one creature, one being, with all the powers of the Sinister Six? We get guest appearances by Aunt May, Flash Thompson, Black Cat, Betty Brant, a whole bunch of cast of characters. This actually didn't really feel very much like the book from the first 5 stories, because, you know, Peter had been put through the ringer in those first 5 stories, and this one felt a little bit more classic, although there was no MJ. But it was pretty good. I liked it all right. It was a little bit long, but it was still pretty fun. So yeah, so it's a big thick book though, because it is you know, Legacy number 900, the 900th issue of Amazing Spider-Man. So yeah, if you're not reading this but you just want a pretty fun story of Spider-Man with some awesome art, you can check this one out. So I got this awesome wraparound cover. This isn't the A cover, but I had to get it because it's the wraparound. But I try not to do this, guys, but I can't resist. I had to get the Skottie Young cover as well, because Skottie Young doing the Sinister Six. I mean, look at Sandman. Sandman is just so adorable there, so I had to get both. Next up is Captain America Symbol of Truth number 3. So this one was pretty good as well, but I was a little bit bummed out, and I'll tell you why. So last issue, Sam went to Latveria to talk to Deadpool to get some leads on the case he's investigating. And at the end of that issue, they were stopped by Doctor Doom and his security team, and I was like, "Oh man, there's going to be a great face-off between Sam and Doctor Doom," and that didn't really happen. And like in the first couple issues, there was a little bit of an interaction between Sam and Deadpool and then Doctor Doom, but after a couple pages, Doom said, "Okay, you can leave," and that was it. So I was a little bit bummed out, but this was still pretty interesting. Sam is trying to track down vibranium that's being smuggled out of Wakanda, so he reaches out to Wakanda for help researching that, or investigating that, I should say. And they are a little bit less than willing to help. And it's interesting because it ties, how do I say this? Like it doesn't tie into the current Black Panther book, but the status quo of Wakanda has been set in the Black Panther series right now is shown in this, and it's why he's having such trouble, you know, doing that. So pretty interesting. I really wanted that Sam Wilson Doctor Doom face off though, but it was still fun. I still really like this book. I like I said before, I think I almost like this one a little bit better than the Steve Rogers Cat book, although I do like that one quite a bit as well. So bravo, Marvel. You've got 2 awesome Captain America books, and I like this one a lot. And already, last for Marvel, only 4, well, technically 3 Marvel books, but 4 because I got 2 Spider-Mans. But the last one here is Strange number 4. It feels like it's been a while since this one has come out. But this one was good. I really like it. So Clea is still in the role of the Sorcerer Supreme since Doctor Strange is dead. And she, so, you know, in the first, was it the first or the second issue? Or is it the second issue, I think, where she actually went up against an undead Thunderstrike, which I was super excited about because I love Thunderstrike. In this one, she goes up an undead version, well, what seems like an undead version of Moon Knight, but it's actually a character called Shadow Knight, and I actually don't know who that is. So let me know if that's an existing character or if it was made for this book, but they sure do look like Moon Knight. I just don't know why or who it is or whatever. Guys, I really like Clea as the Sorcerer Supreme. Like, she is very scary and intimidating, you know, and she talks about being the, at one point she's being attacked in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and she said, well, they you know, they're going up against the niece of Dormammu, Earth Sorcerer Supreme, Queen of the Dark Dimension, I think is what she said. So I mean, like, she's scary, she's powerful. We also there's some great interaction with her and her mother in this too. So there's only one more issue to go in this miniseries, and then I don't know what's going to happen from there. But I can't wait to find out because this is pretty good. As for DC, we've got Action Comics number 1045, continuing the very long-running Warworld saga by now. And guys, I'm going to be a little bit honest here. The Warworld storyline is starting to wear on me a little bit. It started off just with a bang. Like, it was just crazy awesome. But it's starting to wear out its welcome a little bit. There's been several stories now where not a lot has happened. Things pick back up again in this issue. The story starts to move forward again. The problem is, I don't know who half the characters in the book are. And there are, I think, 3 different groups of our heroes, of our you know, people who are fighting against Mongul. 3 different groups split off to go do 3 different things. And I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't understand who they are, what they're doing, or why they're doing what they're doing. It's been very light on Superman these last few issues. This one, a little bit, he's featured a little bit more. And it does look like things are starting to pick up again, and we may be getting toward a resolution soon, at least to this section of the Warworld saga. But I still like it, and I'm still going to keep getting it, and I know that I have sung the praises of the Warworld storyline for so long, but, you know, I don't want to lie, and this is starting to get a little bit long-winded. Like, I need some things to start happening, because I'm starting to lose interest. So hopefully with this issue and, you know, what was in it, things are going to start to pick back up. One that I did find very interesting, though, is Deathstroke Inc. number 11. So this is Deathstroke Year 1, Part 2. So we're learning about Deathstroke and his origins and what made him the way he is. It is kind of nice to see. So how do I say this? It's kind of nice seeing Deathstroke as kind of a bad guy again. Like, he's not a good guy in this at all. He has a wife and a son, and he's complaining about him. He's like, they're holding me back from the life that I want, and I can't go do the things I want to do, like kill people, because of them, right? So he goes out on another job, and it's really interesting. A lot of good action. You can see him just like methodically and strategically taking down a big mob of guys to get to his target. We get a cool, I don't want to say guest appearance because I think they're going to show up in the next issue, but a cool appearance of another character at the end, which I was really excited about. But so it's very cool to see Deathstroke like this, but he's very, very unlikable in this. Like, the art is great too. I like seeing the art. I like all the action, but Deathstroke himself is really, really unlikable. But I still kind of like it. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. Because, you know, lately, over the last few years, he's been turned almost into a hero. And that's not really who Deathstroke should be, you know? So I am digging this story. I'm digging the art. And, you know, I can't wait to see that other character in next issue. So another one that I liked quite a bit more than I even thought that I would is Detective Comics number 1062. So this starts a new story arc written by Ron V with art by Raphael Albuquerque. This one was really good. Batman, it's interesting because Batman takes down some bad guys at the docks or something like that, and he says to himself, this should take me 18 seconds, and it takes him 22 seconds, and he's like, something feels off, and he runs all these tests and everything, you know, his blood tests and all this stuff, brain tests, everything comes back normal, but he's like, something feels off, and he's telling Nightwing something feels off. Meanwhile, there seems to be some kind of, I don't know if it's like I don't know if I should go so far as to call them a secret society, but just this group of people that seems like they have had their claws in Arkham for a really, really, really long time. Now, not Arkham, Gotham, I'm sorry. They seems like they've had their claws in Gotham for a long time. Now, that does sound a little bit like Court of Owls territory, but you know, I may be just misinterpreting it. And even if it is kind of like that, those are the kind of stories that I dig. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. The art was really good. I did like this better than the last story arc with the Riddler and all that stuff. Yeah, this one was just really, really interesting. This one really makes me want to hurry up and get to the next issue more so than I have in a while. Next up is another one that I quite enjoyed as well, Robin number 16. So after last issue, Robin has kind of set up shop on Lazarus Island, and he wants to make the island a haven for people who have nowhere else to go, you know, who feel like outcasts in their own worlds, right? So they come to Lazarus Island, but there's some mysteries about Lazarus Island, and what's really cool is because of the end of World's Finest number 5, we know that there's some mysteries on the island. That's not really touched on in this issue, but it's cool to know that that's all going to come to a head at some point. But we get the return of Flatline in this, which is really cool. So Robin and Connor Hawk are given some information that Flatline has kind of gone off the deep end. They go to Tokyo searching for her. They meet the Batman of Tokyo, the member of Batman Inc. that lives in Tokyo, and I can't remember his name. They run into Flatline. Well, I won't say anything else. But it was really interesting. The art is really good, and Robin continues to be one of the best books that DC's putting out right now. And last for DC is Batman 1 Dark Knight number 3. So this is the last of this 3-part Black Label series. I think issue number 2 came out back in the 80s, and we're finally just now getting number 3. No, it's not like that, but it does feel like it's been a long time since issue number 2. So much so that I probably should just go back and read, now that all 3 of them are out, I should probably just read all 3 of them together. Needless to say, I did not read this one yet, but the story is really cool though. If you don't know, Batman has to escort a prisoner from one end of Gotham all the way to the other, to Arkham, on the complete other end of Arkham. That prisoner has caused a blackout across the entire city. No power, no lights, no nothing. And there's basically been a bounty put on the prisoner's head, and Batman has to basically fight through just waves and waves of goons and thugs who are trying to get at him. It's a big escort quest, right? But it's really fun. I don't quite remember where number 2 left off because, again, it's been several months since it's been out. But now that this is out, I'm going to just smash all 3 of them together and read it, and I'm sure that it's going to be great. As for Image and the other indies, we got some really good stuff here, but only 2 of these I was able to read before this video. And the first one, I love it. It's one of my favorite books from this publisher right now. Well, from Image. You guys know I do Image next. So issue 2 of Public Domain. So this story is just fascinating. So this is a story. So I don't know if the parallels are supposed to be like this. And I hate to say it because I love both of these men, but think about Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and how Jack Kirby co-created a lot of the characters that Stan Lee got credit for, or is credited as creating. You know, it was a team, right? They both did it. Jack Kirby was the artist, Stan Lee was the writer. Again, Jack Kirby didn't get as much credit as he should have, and then, you know, all these characters blew up, and he didn't really get the money or the credit he deserved. So if you don't know, the story is about this guy here named Miles. His father was in that Jack Kirby role, right? Who was the artist and creator of this character called The Domain. Now, The Domain has since blown up. I think they said there's been 6 movies and toys and merchandise and all this stuff. Miles's father hasn't seen. He's gotten like $5,000 and a plane ticket to the premieres or something like that, but he hasn't like really seen the royalties that he deserves. Well, at the end of last issue, they find an old contract that states that his father actually owns the rights to The Domain. And so now this issue is about Miles and his dad and their family trying to figure out, what do we do with this? You know, should we fight the company for rights and monetary compensation? Should we just let it go? Is it too much trouble? And the whole thing is about that. And it's just so good. Like, this is just there's no superhero stuff here. There's no supernatural stuff. This is just a very basic story about a family and what they're entitled to because of in regards to this character that is blown up, right? But it is just so good. And you know, you can see the point of, you know, the father doesn't really want to fool with it because he thinks it's going to drag on for years. Miles here thinks that it's worth fighting for, and he's really driven, and we see at the end of this why he's so passionate about this. Just touching father-son moments. I just love this book. It's only the second issue, and this is already one of my favorites out from Image right now. You can probably still track down the first issue, hopefully. If you're not reading it yet, I highly recommend this one. Next up is Radiant Black number 16. So I didn't read this one yet because, I'll be honest, I don't remember if I'm caught up or not on this. Like, I can't remember the last issue I read. I think it may have been 14, or maybe I caught up, but this cover and these guys look familiar, but I just don't remember where I read. So I didn't read this one, but it's probably very good, as all the last of them have been, and once I figure out where I last left off, I'm going to catch up with this one. Next up is Rogue Sun number 6. So I didn't read this one as well because there was a little bit of a snafu with me getting issue number 5. I thought I missed it when it came out a few weeks back. I think I got it a week or two ago. I just haven't read it yet, so I haven't read this one either. So I'm a couple issues behind. I remember saying before that I like the story, but the main character here is just so unlikable. It makes the story almost hard to read because he is such a jerk and a whiny little crybaby, and I hate that. So I'm going to read these two most recent issues, and if the main character hasn't gotten any better after this, I'm probably going to drop this one. Next is Sins of the Black Flamingo number 2. So I just finished reading this one right before this video, and this is another great Image book. This is about this master thief who calls himself the Black Flamingo. At the end of last issue, he stole something of very high value, or significant importance, I'll say, to the guy he stole it from. I won't say what it is because it's interesting, and the whole issue is about what is it and what does he do with it and what does it all mean and that kind of thing. So but I just like the I like the mystery. Like there's a lot of supernatural elements, to this, more so than I thought there would be when I read the first issue. But yeah, this is just a really fun book. Like I like the main character. He's very confident and sure of himself, but also not overly super cocky. Like he's a likable guy as opposed to this guy right here. Yeah, so this is a really interesting book, and especially with the way that this one ended, I really want to see what happens next. Next is Scorched number 8. I love that cover. I love like Team Spawn right there. Like that's really cool. Haven't read any Spawns yet, so they are all this is gonna go in the Spawn stack with everything else. But yeah, I can't wait to find out who this group is and why they're together. And last for the single issues this week is Something is Killing the Children number 25. The awesome bloody mask die cut cover. You can open this up and see her face. I am way behind. I think I'm like 4 issues behind on this now, which I'm saddened by because I really like this book and I want to catch up, but I'm also glad that I'm behind because that means I've got like 4 issues that I can read straight through, and this book reads much better altogether. So I can't tell you what happens because I didn't read it because I'm so far behind, but I can't wait to catch up. But the fun doesn't stop there. I got some cool extra goodies as well, starting with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the trade paperback that collects all of Tom King's run on this. I've not read any of this, but I've heard some really good things. I'm really interested in reading it. This is, I'm not sure how many. 8 issues. Oh wow, 8 issues. I thought it was 6. So 8 issues of what I hear is a really great story featuring Supergirl. Like I said, I don't know anything about it, but I can't wait to crack this one open. Next up is the trade paperback for Bolero. So this collects all 5 issues of Bolero from Image Comics, plus something called Gospel for a New Century. I'm not really sure what that is. I probably should. But I got the first issue of this when it came out, but I never got around to reading it. But the story sounded really interesting. Apparently, there's a woman whose relationship with her girlfriend after 12 years they broke up, right? But she has a chance to redo it, but she only had, according to this, she has 53 chances. She finds a way to redo everything, but she only has 53 chances to fix it all. I hope I'm explaining that properly. Like I said, I haven't read this, so if you have read this and I'm butchering it, please let me know in the comments and I will apologize. But it just sounds really good. I like the art. I flipped through it. The art's really great. The story sounds interesting. And yeah, I'm glad I have the whole thing because this sounds like one that's going to be really good to read all at once. Next one was an impulse buy. It was sitting on the counter. I wasn't going to get it, but then when I saw what was collected, I was like, well, that's actually perfect. So this is Spawn Aftermath. So this collects Spawn issues 302 to 307. I started buying Spawn regularly again, starting with issue number 309. And then I found issues 300 and 301 and 302 in the back issues, or maybe I got them on a claim sale or whatnot or something. But then from 303 to 308, right in there, I don't have. Well, I didn't have those. I think I have them digitally now. But you know, since I have all the other books, I've got the early 300s and then 309 on. I wanted to have, you know, all of it. And this fills that gap almost, with the exception of number 308. But this fills that gap. So, like I said, I've got them digitally. I could have read them that way. But it's just cool that this was just laying there. I guess it was new today because it was right on the counter where all the new books are. And I just thought this would be a great way to fill that hole that I have. So I don't know what the story is, but I mean, flipping through it, the art looks really good. And yeah, I mean, this is going to help me, because when I do start to get caught up on Spawn, I wanted to go back to issue 300, or maybe even back to like issue 287 or 288, and this is going to help with that. And then last up for the week is Ma, the trade paperback. This is from Boom Studio, so this collects, I want to say it was like 5 issues, there was a 5-issue story, it doesn't say, but it's the entire story of a book called Ma, and I got the first issue when it first came out, and it was creepy, and I liked it, and I knew I wanted to read the whole thing all at once. And now that I have it, I don't remember what the story was about, so I have no idea. But I knew that I liked it at the time, and I'm sure that I will like it now that I have the whole thing. And that's it, guys. Another really cool haul, really good stuff. Guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video or any of the other videos on my channel, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a sarcastic thumbs up. And if nothing else, leave me a comment below and let me know what you picked up this week. Did you get some cool trades? Did you get anything that you weren't expecting? Are you reading Public Domain? It is so good. I recommend it highly. Guys, whatever it is, just let me know. I love comic books. I could talk about them with a room full of people or just to a camera. Guys, don't forget, comic books are supposed to be fun. They're just another fun form of storytelling. The stories are good. The art is good. Most of all comics are fictional. It's all made up, and in the long run, none of it really matters, so just read it and enjoy it. There are plenty of things out there that everybody can look through and find something they like, and it's super easy to simply disregard the things that you don't like, or that you aren't interested in, I should say, and let everybody else enjoy those things. Also, don't forget, it doesn't matter how much you buy each week or each month. What makes a great comic book haul is that the things that you do buy are really special to you, really matter to you, get you really excited to read comics, whether it's 1 book, 10 books, 100 books. It does not matter how much you buy. And you know, I was thinking about this too. It doesn't matter how much you know about comics either. Like, I don't care how big your collection is, how small your collection is, how much you know, how little you know. I just care that people are reading comics and having fun with it, right? That's all that really matters. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.